next at 11, the man accused of trying to blow up an American plane has his day in court.
I'm Tom Langford. Coming up, we'll show you how Christians in Albany and around the world are celebrating Christmas.
And if you're still not finished with your shopping, never fear. We've got some really last-minute gift ideas. Channel 6 News starts right now.
Channel 6 News is everywhere. Live, the most-watched news station in the capital region. This is Channel 6 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and Merry Christmas. The man accused of hiding explosives in his shoes and bringing them on board an American Airlines flight will stay in prison at least for now. A federal judge ordered the man identified as Richard Reed to remain in custody until a hearing on Friday. Investigators say Reed rigged his sneakers with plastic explosives, then tried to ignite them last Saturday. He was tackled by a flight attendant and several passengers before the shoes caught fire. Now many airports are requiring passengers to take off their shoes and run them through the X-ray machines at security checkpoints. Safety concerns and tougher security measures didn't stop some Capital Region families from reuniting for the holidays. A modest crowd of last-minute travelers came through the Albany International Airport today. The airport says even with added security, there were only minor delays. Adam Hughes, home from college in San Francisco, says he definitely noticed an increase in security.
Every single one of my bags was gone through, all my clothes were taken out. I was patted down like I was being arrested. You know, and they were, had me take my shoes off, my hat off, and it was quite a difference.
Hughes says despite the added security, he was glad to be home. In Afghanistan, military strikes are continuing in spite of the holiday. Jennifer Sabih brings us up to date tonight.
U.S. warplanes resumed bombing al-Qaeda targets north of Kandahar. Afghanistan found a few moments of peace. Through song and improvised Christmas trees, U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan celebrated Christmas as best they could. For many, the best part of the day was getting letters and presents from loved ones back home and sending those messages of love right back.
Merry Christmas, and hope all is well back in the States.
All the family, hi. I'm doing okay. I love you guys.
Today, one of my Afghani friends in the Afghani army came to me and thanked the American friends, he called us, for coming to Afghanistan and bringing them the gift of peace. And it was just a few hours ago, and it really turned me around to think, wow, this is really a great thing to do at Christmas time, even though I have to, spend the price, or pay the price of being away from my family.
In a war-wrecked country where just 2 months ago music was banned, Western soldiers sang Christmas carols, hoping to do their part for peace on earth. As for the mystery over the whereabouts of Osama bin Laden, one coalition leader said today, it's likely after such heavy U.S. bombing, the world's most wanted man may already be dead. In Washington, Jennifer Sabih, Channel 6 News.
In spite of the ongoing situation in Afghanistan making news on a daily basis, a new report says there are actually fewer conflicts this year around the world than in the past. The National Defense Council Foundation says 59 countries have had serious conflicts, including ethnic violence, political or religious fighting, and drug wars. That number is down from 68 last year and only an average of 35 during the years of the Cold War. The recovery effort at Ground Zero won't stop for Christmas, but all the work will be done by volunteers. Mayor Giuliani announcing yesterday that he would not force workers to be away from their families on the holiday, but he says time is still of the essence when it comes to recovering the remains of those lost. Christians across the world are celebrating Christmas Eve tonight, but this year the mood feels different, and Tom Langford is here with more. Tom?
Well, for many people, Christmas is different this year as the holiday's message of peace and hope takes on a new meaning in the post-September 11th world. From Albany to Afghanistan, Christians gather to celebrate Christmas Eve, many looking for comfort in a time of fear and war.
Roger that, cowboy. Post 1-0.
In Kabul, Marines exchange gifts of MREs. While a record player played Billy Joel.
Marines like Billy Joel? You got no choice.
Socks pose as stockings, and the tree's a bit thin, But the Marines say this is their job, and they're proud to do it.
Just had a baby boy. You know, this is it's not my first Christmas away, so kind of get used to it. What can you do?
Traditional Christmas at the Vatican, where Pope John Paul celebrated midnight mass.
Populus, qui ambulavas in tenebris.
The Pope says current events dim the joy of Christmas, and he encouraged the faithful to become builders of peace. Peace is what many want at historic St. Mary's in Albany. More people than usual were at Mass. Father James Lefevre says this year people need Christmas more than ever.
It's a time of peace, time of love, and a time of saying there's an awful lot of hope. Hope for the coming year, and say things will hopefully be better.
And that hope is a Christmas message that sounds pretty good right now, Liz.
Being echoed all over the world, Tom.
It is.
Thank you. Some local reservists got a special Christmas present from Uncle Sam. They got a trip home. Greg Bourne has 3 children, a 4th on the way. And he is one of 16 men from the Glens Falls Naval Reserve who was called up to duty a few months ago. He says he never thought he'd get deployed so soon since he had just enlisted in the Naval Reserves last spring.
I know it's something that has to be done. And I've got a military background, so I don't have a problem with being down in Maryland and being away from my family. It's just, it's hard being away from them. I haven't been away from my family before.
The good thing is he's helping our country, and the bad thing is, like Cato said, we don't get to see him that much. And
Bourne says he doesn't know how long he'll be stationed in Maryland, but he will be heading back Wednesday morning. A Canadian couple passing through the Capital District, lucky to be alive after the minivan rolled over on the thruway. It happened near exit 26 in Rotterdam this morning. The van rolled over on the median, landed on its roof, and caught fire, leaving just a smoking shell behind. The driver was ejected. He was treated and released from Albany Med. The passenger was not hurt. A Columbia County fire leaves 4 people homeless. It happened earlier tonight on Guy Street in the town of Greenport. Firefighters say thick black smoke was already pouring out of the house when they got there around 5 o'clock. Only one person was home at the time. She got out without injury. However, some Christmas gifts may have been lost in the fire. With less than an hour now before Christmas officially begins, hopefully you've got most of your shopping done. But for the perpetual procrastinator, there are a few stores that are staying open all night. The CVS in the Latham Circle Mall will be open all night and all day tomorrow. So will the store on Route 146 in Clifton Park. The Saratoga CVS on Congress Street will also be open. And for more last-minute gift ideas, you can check out our website. It's WRGB.com. And with it being almost midnight here in the Capital District, we're getting reports that Santa has been spotted by the Statue of Liberty in New York City.
It's amazing how quickly Santa can make it through such a large city. One of our NORAD pilots has radioed headquarters saying he believes he saw a little tear rolling down Santa's cheek as he left New York.
NORAD has followed Santa's movements since he took off from the North Pole this morning, including some fancy flying over U.S. aircraft carrier stationed overseas. Santa's sleigh appears to be led, by a red-nosed reindeer. Could have gotten that red nose from the cold. It finally feels a little bit like winter, although it doesn't look like if you don't have a white Christmas, you're going to get one. Here's Steve.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, Liz, with a quiet weather pattern now in place over the Northeast. I don't see any significant storms or significant snow the next couple of days. Let's check out the satellite loop. We have seen skies clearing out a little bit across the area from Albany on south into central and southern New England. A couple of patches, though, popping back up again out Seago, Delaware County. Some flurries still flying out there, but most of the big snows are in narrow bands coming off of Lakes Erie and Ontario, and it looks like that activity will stay to our west as well. In fact, you can see the snow back in here, and just a couple of flurries to the west of the capital region. Otherwise, a very quiet night, and with that, temperatures chilling down. 26 at Albany, 25 at Pittsfield, Poughkeepsie at 26, Glens Falls, already down to 22 degrees, so a typically cold night given the time of the year. For Christmas Day, it looks fine weather-wise. Look for highs in the lower 30s, about an even mixture of clouds and sunshine. There could be a flurry around, but much of the day will be dry and tranquil. No local travel problems, at least related to the weather, coming up for your Christmas holiday. Your forecast for the week coming up just a little bit later.
Channel 6 News is everywhere. Coming up next.
Violence in the Middle East has stopped a holiday tradition for the first time in nearly a decade. And not only New York cities will be having a green Christmas.
The Giants still have a shot at the playoffs coming up in sports. We'll have that story. But is their quarterback going to be ready for the playoffs if, in fact, they do go? And big news out of the Windy City. All that and more coming up in sports.
This segment of Channel 6 News is brought to you by your local Jeep dealer.
It is a tense Christmas in Bethlehem, where Israel succeeded in keeping Yasser Arafat away from the city's Christmas celebration for the first time in 7 years. Arafat's chair sat empty at the Church of the Nativity. Israel refused to let him attend the service, saying he hasn't done enough to stop terrorism. Israeli roadblocks also kept many tourists and others away from holy sites in the country. A plan to keep tabs on released sex offenders in California has many civil rights activists up in arms tonight. The LA Times is reporting that the county of Orange, that's just south of Los Angeles, wants to require paroled offenders to wear wristbands linked to satellite tracking systems. That way, the parole officers could pinpoint the parolee's location at all times. But some critics say even convicted felons have the right to move about without being monitored by the government. Well, there's not much hope, as Steve said, of having a white Christmas here in the Capital District, but other parts of the state do have enough of the white stuff to go around. Close to a foot of snow has already fallen in Tonawanda and nearby Niagara Falls, north of Buffalo. And more is probably on the way. The National Weather Service predicts lake-effect snows could bring as much as 2 feet to some parts of the Buffalo area in the next few hours. Outside of places like Buffalo, though, white Christmases may be coming something of a thing of the past. The new report that says that, and Mary Beth Wenger explains.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
This winter, kids are jogging, not sledding, and the shovel just waits to be pressed into action. But it turns out you're not just being nostalgic about white Christmases like the ones you used to know. A study over the past 40 years by the Oak Ridge National Laboratory finds that the number of white Christmases has declined steadily, to the point where we now see half the number we used to.
Well, back in the 50s and 60s, it was colder than, it was a kind of a downward trend or a cold trend at that point, so it would be expected that it would have been stormier and colder.
40 years ago, there were twice the amount of white Christmases that there are now.
Oh,
You
well,
surprised?
yeah, no, I'm not really, because I'm up there in age, and I remember that.
They were more Christmassy. Just because we've seen a warming trend over the decades doesn't mean you can't create your own white Christmas. The McKee family of Rotterdam were surprised when they won a contest by Fly 92 Radio, which brought a ton of the white stuff from Mount Snow and dumped it on their front lawn. A snowball fight ensued, and everybody's spirits got a little lighter.
Just makes it more festive, makes it more seem like Christmas is coming and Santa can get here and all that stuff.
After all, it is winter in the Northeast. Remember that old line, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute, it'll change.
That ridge that's been over us, and the ridge is what gave us all that warm, dry weather, is moved to the west, and we're settling under a trough now, which will bring us some colder weather and the chance for more storms.
Mary Beth Wenger, Channel 6 News.
I always say the only snowballs you could throw are those little white Christmas cookies with the powdered sugar on top, but I can't think what they're called. And Steve has no idea what I'm talking about.
Absolutely none. Hey, give me a chocolate chip or a sugar cookie, and I'm happy, and I'm sure Santa would take anything.
And I'll take a cookie over a snowball any day.
I hear you. Well, snowball's a hard thing to find in our area coming up tonight, or over the next couple of days, for that matter. We'll talk about the Christmas week forecast when Channel 6 News at 11 continues.
This segment of Channel 6 News is sponsored by Honda Dealers. Now, your instant Doppler 6 forecast with meteorologist Steve.
Merry Christmas, everyone. We've got a pretty nice-looking Christmas Day forecast for you. Temperatures in the low 30s during the afternoon. Cold start, teens and 20s, but we'll see about an even mixture of clouds and sunshine. Looks like a dry day, so if you have any local travel plans during the day tomorrow, I don't expect weather to be a factor in it at all. 26 now at Albany, dew point at 22. The wind has dropped off to calm. 29.81 is the pressure barometer now. Rising cold out there, but Certainly not exceptionally cold given the time of the year. 22 Glens Falls, 28 at Rutland, 25 over at Pittsfield, Poughkeepsie at 26, 20, some low 30s still out across western and central New York State. And those are the areas being affected now by some hefty snows, localized snows, but nevertheless pretty substantial. We have upper-level low pressure rotating around here north of the Great Lakes. That is bringing in a southwesterly airflow of cold air, which is riding up over the warm waters of the lakes, and that's producing some southwest to northeast-oriented snow bands, which are now plastering Buffalo and Watertown, Rochester getting some snow. But you can see here skies have cleared a little bit, and that bodes well for at least partial sunshine coming up tomorrow. Here's the local radar across western New York. You can see how narrow and localized the snow bands are, but within these bands of snow, this one now moving right into the Buffalo metro, 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates, and this is not going to go away. It looks like it's going to snow in this area for probably the next 48 hours, so conceivably some locations could be looking at 2 to 3 feet of snow as these snow bands oscillate to the north and to the south of Buffalo. Rochester getting some snow, and Watertown also getting some snow. But here, it's very quiet. Just a couple of snow showers being detected in the western viewing area, Fulton, Montgomery County, Otsego, Delaware. Let's look at these on our street-level radar system, and you can see they're light, they're scattered. Eastern Delaware County, much of Otsego County getting some weather watch reports of some nice Christmas Eve flurries falling from the clouds. Up here west of Gloversville, Caroga Lake perhaps getting some flurries, down towards Amsterdam with some flurries as well. So that's about the worst case scenario for us coming up overnight tonight. Just a couple of random flurries. Back to the maps now, and we'll show you that the nation as a whole is fairly quiet. Upper level low pressure again here. Otherwise, we're looking at lots of high pressure from the west coast extending all the way to the east coast, and we have seen a big pattern change. Big blocking ridge of high pressure has developed over southern Greenland in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and what that has done is produce a big trough of low pressure, which is not only encompassing the eastern half of the country, but much of the central and even parts of the western half of the country. That has suppressed the main storm track well to the south and is driving much, much colder air across much of the nation. So we're looking at a generally cold and generally dry weather pattern for probably the next 4, 5, maybe 6 days, as again the main storm track takes that track well to the south and well out to sea. And you can see temperatures nationwide are cold, with the coldest weather across the upper Mississippi River Valley and the Intermountain West. But with time, our daytime temperatures will be dropping here in the Northeast. For Christmas Day, though, looks like a good one. Heavy snows in the lee of the lakes, but that will be all west of our area. Look for a mixture of clouds and sunshine with temperatures tomorrow in the lower 30s. For tonight, 20 to 25, some teens in the normally cool spots where skies remain clear and the wind is light. Otherwise, partly cloudy with just a couple of flurries. For Christmas Day, 33 with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. A cold but dry, pleasant day. 20 tomorrow night, variably cloudy. Could be a few flurries around as the wind shifts back into the west. And here's the 6-day forecast. A flurry possible on each of the next several days, with the best chance of snow showers Saturday. Look for those daytime high temperatures to start falling off. Upper 20s, in fact, by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with overnight lows in the teens. So starting to feel the part. Now all we need to do is get a storm to work with some of the cold air for the snow fans that haven't had anything to enjoy.
Yes, I'm sure they'll get it.
Yes, but it's probably not going to happen in the next 6 days.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Merry
All right.
Christmas.
You too.
Coming up, well, we've had enough. Some very big news out of the Windy City today. Plus, it's not a secondary concern. We'll get an update on this giant high-profile corner. Damian Andrew has all that. He's next in sports.
Back, everybody. Doug Sherman has the night off. With 2 games left, the Giants still have a shot at making the playoffs, but they might be without Jason Sehorn for the stretch run. The team's high-profile cornerback will definitely not play Sunday at Philadelphia, and he could miss the season finale against Green Bay. The NFL's highest-paid corner sprained his left ankle in the 4th quarter of Sunday's win over Seattle. He had an MRI done today, and it came back negative. The injury bug has plagued Sehorn for parts of his 8-year career. William Peterson will replace Sehorn in the lineup against the Eagles. Well, most of us are dreaming of a white Christmas. Not the Giants, though. All they're dreaming of these days is an invitation to the postseason party. That dream is still alive thanks to Sunday's come-from-behind win over the Seahawks. New York had it back up against that proverbial wall, but it didn't seem to matter.
Hey, we had a positive attitude, you know what I mean? We had all the chips on the table, so, you know, we got all the chips on the table. You can't help but, you know, have a positive attitude.
You have to be patient. I mean, that's tense times. I mean, there's no question. You see your season's eye before your eyes melt in front of you, and you got to remain composed.
Those 2 weeks in a row, they came out and made some big plays for us. So I knew they could do it. It was just a matter of doing it. But I got to tell you, 2 weeks in a row, I don't know how much more I could take of it like that.
Elsewhere in the NFL today, Bears head coach Dick Duran gets an early Christmas present from the Chicago front office. Job security, sort of anyway. The team says it will iron out a contract extension with Duran after the season's over. The Massachusetts native has 1 year left on his existing 4-year deal. He's done wonders in the Windy City after going 5-11 last year. The Bears are 11-3 and playoff bound this season. To the NBA now, and more big news out of Chicago. The marriage between head coach Tim Floyd and the Bulls is over. Floyd made that official today after weeks of speculation about his future with the team. The Bulls head coach has resigned. In 3+ seasons with the team, he managed just 49 wins while losing 190 games. That's the worst coaching start in league history, Liz. The Chicago Brass didn't help now. They sent Peekskill native Elton Brand, the Bulls' best player, to the Clippers before the start of this season. Floyd says it's time to move on.
There are days when you get to eat the bear, and some days the bear eats you. And this was just one of those times in my life that it didn't go exactly like I would have hoped that it would have gone.
We need to go on from here. This organization will go on from here. This is it's a hard thing.
Don't know if the bear is eating Dan Issel just yet, but the reports out of Denver say the Nuggets head coach is ready to step down. This comes just 2 weeks after Issel made an ethnically offensive comment to a Denver fan. Issel left the team indefinitely on Saturday, right before he was to return to the sidelines after a 4-game suspension. Issel was suspended by the league for his comments. His agent denies today's reports out of the Mile High City. New Jersey Nets forward Kenyon Martin will miss the team's next game. Martin suspended and fined $7,500 today by the league for this hard foul against Karl Malone in Saturday's game against the Jazz. After the game, Malone said he expected the NBA to take action against Martin. The Nets play Wednesday at Cleveland, and you can't do that. That was a terrible foul.
Hey, I want to ask about the Giants, though. Are they going to make it, do you think?
They really need to win their next 2 games.
Yeah.
And then they need a little help. And if they can get that help, and if they can run the table, they should be in the postseason.
Oh, yeah, that's real easy, isn't it?
But, you know, we talked about this before, you and I. Jim Fossil hasn't made any guarantees this season.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know if he knows something and he doesn't want it, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Should be interesting.
Well, we're rooting for them.
Yes, we are.
All right. Thank you, Damian. And Merry Christmas to you, of course. And still ahead, speaking of Christmas, Santa's gearing up for a busy day. It seemed everywhere you look, he was there today, even water skiing in Seattle. We'll be right back.
This segment of Channel 6 News is sponsored by Toyota dealers.
Finally tonight, Father Christmas has a big night ahead of him, but he's already had a pretty big day. The Christmas spirit started percolating tonight in New York City, where the Empire State Building was lit up with the traditional red and green lights to celebrate the arrival of Santa. He had started his day in Honolulu, where he paddled onto a warm, sunny beach with his bikini bunnies, overheard to say he hates to trade in the shorts and the sandals for the red velvet and fur. The real Santa put in some quality time in Mesquite, Texas, and he's got the driver's license to prove it. In his other job, Santa Michael Claus is a telephone equipment installer. Santa went by his middle name growing up to avoid confusion, but when he joined the Navy, his real name came out. Now, Lance Burnham here may not be Santa, but he sure likes dressing up like him. Burnham's a mail carrier in Illinois, always wanted to do more than just leave a note for Santa, so now he delivers notes as Santa. And in the real spirit of Christmas, in South Florida, some good-hearted firefighters played Santa today to the Jarman family, whose home was gutted by fire last week, and they brought home toys and a real sense of Christmas to that family. And I guess that's what you do like seeing that. That's right. And one more reminder of how great our firefighters are. We want to say that's it for us for tonight, and wish you all the merriest of Christmas. Hope it's a wonderful day of peace and joy spent with family and friends. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Melodies is on tomorrow morning at 11. Don't forget that. And Merry Christmas, and we'll see you whatever.